Welcome back to another episode of The Last Storm. We're back winning. Man, we're almost to 500 and everybody is ready to start talking about what the fuck is up with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And let's just be honest, we've been saying it this whole time, guys. Like, we knew this time was coming. We talked about it in early episodes. We said eventually this team is going to be able to put together a 10-month or a 10-win month. And when they do so, they're going to let the NBA know that they're here. And we're watching this month right now unfold in front of us. And I hate to say that this is going to be a 10-win month, but, you know, we still got some games to go.
Why not?
But I'm just really impressed with how this is going. And, you know, we're seeing an incredible emergence from Josh Giddey right now. He fouled out last night. But, you know, him and Shea are just leading this team like nothing I've seen in a very long time. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Shea and Giddey, they're being the leaders of everything, but leading with being unselfish. And that is so contagious. And you see it out there with everybody out there. And Kenny Hustle gets double-digit assists. The ball's popping. Everybody gets an assist out there who's playing serious minutes. And it was really impressive. We just saw things happening that we wanted to see for years as Thunder fans. Going back to like previous iterations of the Thunder, we didn't see this type of ball movement, and we'd always hear the coaches talking about it. We want to see it move from side to side. We want to, you know, do different things, but then it would be out there and be like, ISO, ISO, ISO. This is not that. And it, like I said, going back, it starts with the leaders of the team saying, we're going to give the ball up early. We're going to get the defense moving side to side, and we're going to take aggressive opportunities late in the shot clock. So when the team is playing this balance, bro, like, what is your strategy for stopping a team?
Well, first of all, you got to look at your playmakers on that team. You got to say, how do I slow this playmaker down? Because a lot of times in the NBA, stopping a playmaker isn't something you're going to be able to do, especially like if you're looking at Shea. You're not going to be able to stop him. Your only goal is going to be able to slow him down enough where he's not going to hurt you with the rest of the players. The issue that teams are having right now is the emergence of Josh Giddey and Lou Dort. That's the issues right now. These two guys have really stepped up, but I want to focus right now on Josh Giddey because what he's been doing recently. And you were talking just before you got on, and I said, like, you know, I asked you, like, how do you stop Josh Giddey? And I started thinking about how do you stop Josh Giddey?
Yeah, how do you?
Like, here's a problem. Is he's shooting so well from the outside. Even if you give him that shot, he's a smart enough player to recognize if you're going to give him 3 feet, that means he can dribble twice and get closer to the hole and take a shot. He can get to the hole. He's rising up and finishing on centers. He's finishing, getting offensive rebounds. He's doing all these other things that most players won't even fuck with. Josh is understanding his role in this whole scheme of things, and I think that's the most powerful thing. Last night, 16 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 of which, like I said, were offensive. But it's the way that he attacks the hole. 8 for 12 attacking that hole. Guys, like, if you're trying to figure out who to stop on defense, and you're saying this team has right now 2 playmakers that are making a huge difference, Josh and Shea, who am I going to stop? I would say this is Josh is one of those guys that you're not going to be able to stop very much because it's going to take your second or third best defender to be able to put on him. So I'm saying let's, you know, again, slow down Shea. Let Josh beat us. But the problem is that teams are doing that now, and Josh is literally fucking beating him. So what do you do? Like, how do you play defense? Josh's 3 rebounds, he either scored on him or he passed the ball for a wide open layup. Like, how do you defend Josh when it comes down to he's driving to the hole, he has an open shot, everybody goes up, and he passes the ball to the wide open guy underneath the bucket, which is a Kenny Hustle, which is a J-Dub, which is, you know, Shea or Dort. Like, we're seeing this, like, ability to not just understand where the players are, but where the defense is going and where his teammates are going to be. And he doesn't even need to see. I mean, he just passes the ball. He doesn't need to see. He knows that they're there. And so when you're saying, how do I stop Josh Giddey? It's more like, let's go ahead and try to stop Shea from scoring 36 points. And if Josh Giddey beats us, then so be it. But, I mean, he's putting up insane numbers right now.
Right. Since December 1st, bro, 50, 40, 90. That's what I heard somebody say. And I believe it.
I believe it.
So that's Giddey. That's not Shea. You know, and Shea's putting up crazy numbers too. I think he's flirting with the 50, 40, 90. If he can get that 3-point shooting
he's
percentage
tickling
up.
that a little bit for sure.
Yeah, he's gonna get there. I don't have the stats in front of me, so I can't actually say if I'm right on any of this shit. But I'll tell you right now, what we're seeing is uncommon. We're seeing unselfishness, and we're seeing teams committed to really defending together. And that's why you can throw out Kenny Hustle. And offensively, we legitimately don't have a center. Defensively, he can guard a player like Miles Turner.
Yes. Right? But talk about that for a second.
No, you tell me.
Stop it. All right. Let's talk about that for a second. The defense that we play, okay? We were just talking about that on before we got on the show. You had Josh playing the center in the middle of that zone that we did. You had Kenny playing that center zone you did. You had J-Dub playing that center of the zone that we did in that first team with that starting group guys, right? Why are we consistently moving those guys out and in is because if you watch the way we're playing, right? Kenny will sniff something out or he'll be able to go through that zone, right? And follow his guy because he realizes that they're running something. And when he does that, the whole zone shifts, guys. It's spectacular. It's beautiful. It's something that I've seen, with highly educated coaches in college, but it's something I haven't really seen a lot of in the pros. So the fact that you're able to do this kind of a new age defense of sorts and put this in right now against other teams, they don't know what to do. Like teams aren't going out there and saying, like the Celtics, hey, we want you guys to score 150 points on us. Teams aren't going out there and saying, hey guys, go ahead and beat us tonight. Like we want to lose. Like that's not what teams are going at. They're seriously throwing the best at us every single night. And we're fucking beating the fucking shit out of them.
Pounding it.
And it's all night. And we started last night 17-1. Come on, man. Like this is exciting.
Yeah.
Like our defense, man. Have you ever seen a defense the way that we play with a big man consistently moving in and out and interchanging to a wing and different things like that? Have you ever seen anything like it before?
No, man. It's interesting. I think there's this definite concept of like selfless team basketball on defense where nobody's looking around and being like I've got my man, like, so I'm good. As long as my man's not the guy who scores, I'm fine. Which, like, let's face it, when we were playing, like, that's what you always looked at. You're like, hey, at least it wasn't my man who scored because that person's going to get yelled at by coach, right? So you're like in a situation where you see somebody go out and press the ball full court, and then you'll see a rotation take place that really is sort of like, just like, okay, now you're back, and everybody just, and it doesn't seem like anything happened, but it's so uncommon for NBA defenses to have a team mentality to defense. Like, yeah, they'll guard positions when they're on weak side and they understand they got to, do different responsibilities. But in the end, like the switching happens at such a non-verbal level. It's all with the eyes. It's all with the hands. And yeah, like if they can't see, then they're yelling. They're also communicating, but it's like, it's this different level. And when you put it all together, it's like crack. You show me a video.
Okay. Earlier this season when our team or our guys were playing in the off year, after the draft, we're all playing as a group, right? And we're playing this defense that we're playing now. And I'm watching it. I'm like, man, if we play this type of defense, and I remember telling him, like, this defense is crazy, man. Look at how we're moving. Look at how we're staying in the lanes and making it difficult for teams to come and drive on us. And I just remember being blown away by the way that we were moving in that defensive mindset. And then it starts hitting me. Like, we haven't changed that mentality.
No.
And
we can't leave Poco on an island, and we know that.
Yeah. And that's, to me, like, I can't say this enough when I hear people say things like, we need to go out and get a center. We need to go out and trade for a center or this or that, or Poku's not a real big man.
It's just what? It shows they're ignorant, right?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of fans out there. We have a lot of guys people that listen to our podcast that
My apologies if I accidentally called any listener ignorant.
I want to go back to this, is that Sam Presti, right? He talks about this. He lays out the foundation of what he is looking for in a big man, in a power forward, in a guard. And that isn't your typical big man. Your typical big man guards one position.
You always hear people like they switch 1 through 4, or they can switch 4 and 5, but you never hear 1 through 5.
Exactly. And that's what makes our defense way different and way better, and why you don't need a true legitimate 5-man in there, and why this team is not going to go out and make trades to get a quote unquote true big man.
Which, by the way,
if we do, it will replace Mike Muscala, because you always have to have somebody on that bench that can shoot the 3 and that can D up when he needs to D up.
Right, and we know one of the reasons we won't go do something like that is because we have Chet on the bench. So explain to me how this like style is actually good for Chet, because Chet doesn't like to be like the old school 90s, Michael Cage style center, right?
Well, I mean, look at what he did at Gonzaga. I mean, that's what we're talking about putting him in like.
Which is more like a perimeter orientated guard mentality in a big man's body, which is what we love.
You look at Poku, that's exactly what Poku's been playing this year.
All right, so defensively though, how does Chet fit in? Does he play that center, or does he play the wings?
How many blocks did we say at the beginning of the season before he got injured that he was going to get?
I think 3. That would be my guess.
We were around 3 average, right? That's where I feel like we undervalued Chet, because playing in this defense opens it up to a whole new level, because it's not that physical contact that he consistently gets. He can be what we call the ghost blocker, the guy that comes from behind and blocks you. And that's what Chet is so powerful at. Yes, he'll body up somebody
but
anytime he wants to.
We know that. We're not going to act like it's crazy.
But when it's a ghost blocker coming from behind, that's the one that's scary. And we know Chet's so fucking good at that. And that's why I keep going back to it. It's like, add Chet into this, and Chet could average, Chet's going to break records with the blocks. We all know that. If he plays healthy and he plays out there, Chet's going to be breaking records right and left about blocking, rookie records, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Chet's going to break everything. So we know that going into it. So you're looking at this and you're saying, which of these guys are going to be best fit with Chet? And that's where I keep going back to, is that this team, okay, guys, this team has been designed for Chet the last 2 or 3 years of drafting. And it's as simple as that. Because when Sam Presti saw Chet and said, I would do anything to get that guy, he said, what I have to do is build a perfect team around that dude. The offense, the defense, they all need to fit this guy perfectly. And guess what? He's going to fit in, and he's going to fit in spectacular. And everybody else that's looking at Victor and saying he's the next, God, he's the next Jesus Christ of this world, right? You guys.
Yeah.
I will stand here and I will say he is overrated 1 trillion times. Okay, now if the Thunder pick him up, he's not overrated. But if he's not a Thunder, he's fucking overrated, guys.
There you go.
And the reason is because we have Chet. And Chet is going to be known as that player. And Victor will always be that I wish I could be Chet player.
There you go, man. And I want to say something as far as like what's going on. We need to get back and talk a little bit more about the game, because there's big games.
I'm sorry, I got carried away. No,
man. I'm glad you did. But think about it like this. Like when the Thunder first got good in 2010, I believe, right? Imagine if that evolution took place, but Kevin Durant was out that year. Right? What if all of a sudden they were like competitive in a playoff environment, but you didn't have your best player? We won't say that Chet is already there at that level, but we'll say the highest draft pick, because that's what KD was, the number 2 pick, the guy who had, potential to be number 1 in a lot of drafts. And here we are, we're watching this maturation take place. Now, why does it happen? It happens because of the groundwork laid before that happened. Exactly like what you're saying.
That's it.
You've got to have those dirty working, hard working, go out there and do every single job type guys. That's when we look at the Thunder team that we had in the previous iterations. We were lacking these guys. So let's talk about some of these guys, right? You can all day look at someone like Jalen Williams, J-Dub, and say he had a light game with 11 points, but he had 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and 1 block. So, okay, offensively, but every other way, we're talking about like a serious, like you have to start thinking, is he a 5x5 candidate? All right, we'll come back to that later, right? Kenrich Williams, 12 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else you want, guys. We already talked about Giddey. We talked about Shea. We talked about Dort's, 22 points, but he put up 11 rebounds, bro. So that group is playing at an incredible level. But then we're getting this punch from the bench. We got a game high tie from Isaiah Joe, 23 points off the bench, 7 of 12 from 3, which was all of his shots. So it's like, what are you going to do? You better start guarding the perimeter.
Did you see that 3 that he hit from the corner?
Bro, I saw all of his threes, bro.
Oh my God, bro. I just stopped. Like there was a moment like he hit the corner 3 and he faded and he did that turnaround after he hit it. Like I can't get enough about what Isaiah Joe is going to bring to this team. Like, we can sit here and we can say all this about our bench, but when push comes to shove, Isaiah Joe coming off that bench in games like this that we know he's going to get wide open threes,
right?
There's nobody's going to be able to fuck with that. Like, we had wide open three after wide open three. We made our shots last night, and 42% for 16 for 38, and Isaiah Joe was a massive part of that. I mean, he was the biggest part of that.
It was, but let's talk about the Pacers, bro. I feel like they came in and they were like, we know what we're going to try to do, and part of that was going to be to try to make us hit threes to beat them.
Yeah. Well, then Dort spoiled that right away.
Well, dude, that one bounce Dort's had, it was like, whoa. It went from feeling like, honestly, like that might have been a bad shot. It probably wasn't the best shot, but in the way it missed, it was like, bad shot. And then the way the roll went, it was like, good shot. Like,
the way his shot goes, like, almost into the rafters. Like, it's like, whoa. Like that's what I loved about the buzzer beater he had against the Suns a couple years ago, where the Utah or wherever, where the shot goes boom, and it was like up in the air for like 2 seconds, and then it came down, and like that's what I love about Dort. And eventually, when he hits a big time buzzer beater and he shoots the ball with 2 seconds, and then finally hits the ground, and it's we're gonna be grateful that arc is there.
Look, and we have a hell of a player in Dort. And he gets a lot of criticism for different things, but
fuck those people. By the way, I want to say that.
Look, I also think when you have critics, you always have an opportunity to learn and to grow too. So with a player like Dort, 22 points, 8 of 14 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep, right? 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So you're like, dude, he's playing at a really high level. The next level for Dort is he has to keep that aggressive mentality, but he's going to become more of a playmaker. He's just going to start taking on more of that role that you see from like Giddey and Shea, because if he can draw defensive attention, and you're going to make the scouting report if you get 20 points in games and stuff like that. So if he's going to draw that attention, then he's going to start becoming a facilitator. And that's something that a lot of people maybe aren't expecting from Dort, but like they want every player to play with that mentality, which like it's almost like an ethos at this point, right? You attack the paint, you get downhill, you pass to the open man, you then attack again, get downhill, pass to the open man. And if you can get a few paint touches per possession, the defense just keeps shrinking. It's
beautiful, man.
Right? So you need to do that a couple of times. And that's why I'm like none of these players should we be saying like, oh, we're seeing this finalized version of them. It's not even close.
It's not. And Isaiah Joe, the way he played defense is 2 steals. The way that he tried to take charges. I mean, I cannot say enough about every person on this team. They're giving it their all. Like Jay Will had a rough night last night. He had 5 turnovers. And I only bring this up because this is going to happen with rookies. They're going to play well, right? But they're going to make mistakes. And he had 5 points, 5 turnovers, 1 assist, 1 rebound, and he was just efficient all night, man. I 1 for 1 on 3-pointers. Like, there's so many guys that are putting time in. Trey Mann, we talked about it beforehand, his shot at the end. Like, all these guys are out there, and it's so fun to watch because, we're sitting here thinking about, the different names for this podcast, and we just keep going over and over how much of a team win this is. Mm-hmm. How much of a team win all of these wins are. It's not this old school isolation basketball. It's none of that. It's all balls to the wall, defense pushing up the court. It's the fundamental on basketball that we're watching, and it's so beautiful and so powerful that, like, we're leading the way for the new NBA, and anybody that's watching this is getting excited because look at this team. We're the youngest team in the NBA, second youngest team in the NBA history, and we're going out there doing things that nobody thought was possible.
Yeah, and sure, we're almost at 500. Yeah, we just matched how many wins we had a couple of years ago and all that noise. But let's face it, guys. The reason the whole world is paying attention to the Thunder right now is because we're so young and the talent and the potential is so limitless at the same time. So we know that's why you guys continue to join us, and we appreciate you guys. We want to see this team go on to win championships, and we know that if you're listening, that's all you want too. So buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a hell of a ride.
I just want to say, Mark took some time, and I took some time, and we went back and all the reviews and all the people that have said some positive things recently. We went back and took pictures of them, snapped pictures of them. It means a lot. Like, there's moments that we get on here that we get off and we're like, fuck, dude, I sounded horrible. That was a horrible podcast. And then we get on there and people are writing stuff about like how much they like us and how much we're changing their lives and how much they're just appreciative of a mature outlook and not listening to children trying to trade every single player. Like, all these comments, guys, mean more to us than we could ever imagine. And that's why we take time and we respond back. All you guys that like and subscribe, we appreciate you guys. We don't want that necessarily. We just want to be able to interact with you guys. It's a bonus if you guys subscribe. We're not one of those people that go out there and say, hey, guys, follow us, do this, do this. We just want you guys to listen to a mature podcast that's about this team and the team positivity that comes with it. So thank you very much for listening to us. We really do appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Thunder up.